It's going to be a race against time this week because on Thursday, well today's Monday, we've got carpet fitters to fit the grippers down to concrete and they need to do that the day before, and then on Friday it's carpet day. And I want to update all of the skirting in here. Now Mr. TCD didn't want me to do this, but in previous properties when we haven't, I just think old dated skirting can bring the place down. So just replacing it I think makes it brand new again, especially with all the effort that you've gone to painting, decorating your place. Anyway, there's not a lot to replace in here, but the hardest challenge is going to be near the fitted wardrobe and the dressing table because those were fitted after the skirting board went on. So if you look here, I've got to take this off, but obviously it's trapped behind the bedside table. And I don't really want to take these off if you can help it. But once all of that is done, hopefully everything will go swimmingly. But one good thing that happened when I was updating this wardrobe is this. The plinth accidentally came off, so this one is actually going to be easier than you might think. Now I don't want to make too much damage, so that is why I'm starting with a Stanley knife to score the caulk. And I'm going to do it on an angle towards the wall so I don't accidentally slip on the skirting board. I won't be reusing this skirting board for the room, but I do like to save bits like this for other jobs. It's the sort of thing that'll end up in the chicken pen. So the trick is going to be to find the right tools to take off the existing skirting board without damaging the walls. Although these have been put in with really big masonry nails. When we did that last time, it did take some holes out. But the skirting board we're using is very tall. I think it's 150 millimeters tall. And what we found is it's tall enough to sit flat against the wall without pivoting. Anyway, I've brought this Wagner paint guard. I'm going to trap that behind and then I can yank the skirting board without damaging the wall. I've got loads of tools here just in case. Oh, and a pry bar. First I want a filling knife. There we go. Start. After removing as much as I could and working carefully around the existing furniture, I used my multi-tool to cut the remaining skirting at an angle. This would give me enough space to slot in the new skirting without relying heavily on caulking. Right, that's gone. So that's one done. I've now got to use a multi-tool on the other pieces. Once I'd removed them all, I held an offcut of the new 18mm skirting against the plinth and used it as a guide to mark my next cut. But the time-consuming bit was cutting the existing skirting behind it so it was nice and flat. I ended up using a few different attachments and even got chisels out off camera later. To remove the masonry nails, I didn't want to start taking chunks off the wall, so I turned to my Dremel using a reinforced cut-off wheel. Now I'm getting rid of the caulk line. Instead of using a blade all the way around, it's a bit easier doing this. And then removing any of the mortar that's possibly sticking out. Oh no, where's the thing gone? While Mr. TCD looks for a wing nut, I start cutting down the wardrobe's plinth. And with everything being MDF, I'm wearing a good mask and attach my shop vac to my mitre saw. Ow. So that does need raising. Nice. Actually a bit roomier than I planned, but anyway. Let's do all the cuts first and then we'll mess about. Right, what we got here. So I'm measuring the length of that. 305.2 centimetres. I mark where to cut it with my roofer's square. Oh, and by the way, this prime skirting is left over from the hallway that I filmed last year, which was gifted by Skirting World. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check them out. Right, let's see if this fits. Might have to nibble a bit more off. But what I do like is I don't have any joins because the skirting board is 4.2mm long. Oh, pants. I've got to take that plinth off. Oh. Come on. No, don't like that. I'm going to take a couple of mil off. I don't want to scratch paint. Too late. Take 2. Got to get that out of the way. Oh. Please fit, please fit. Come on. Can you just come over here for a second? I just need to push the end towards a wall and hopefully it will go in. Right, that's one done. I'm not even going to glue that one. I'm just going to screw it in place. And I'll deal with the other plinth after. I'll get the rest cut now. Now the longer pieces were cut, which I was glad because I kept having to move the miter saw for them, I could start relaxing working on the shorter pieces. They're much more manageable. And now for my one and only internal scribe, which helps if your walls aren't perfectly square. First, I cut a 45-degree end to reveal the profile that I need to back cut. And next, I trace along the cut with a pencil so the profile is easier to see. Then, using my Irwin floorboard saw, I cut along the straight pencil lines on an angle, cutting slightly backwards so nothing protrudes when I fit the pieces together. For the wiggly bits, I switched to my back-out coping saw, adjusting my position where needed, and again, also making sure I back cut these too. I find I often don't back cut these ones enough because they're quite small. So instead of hand sanding, I grab my Dremel with a sanding barrel and finish my back cut all the way along for some fine tuning. Anyway, for external cuts, I recommend watching my video from last year where I cut 2 external miters and joined them with miter glue and a spray activator. For fixing skirting to brick walls, this is my fail-proof method which works every time. First, I drill through the skirting with a wood bit, then switch to a 6mm masonry bit in my SDS hammer drill, followed by countersinking the hole, helps bury the screw heads, slot in a roll plug, then partially hammer the screw in to push the plug into the wall. And after that, I finish tightening it with a screwdriver or an impact driver to mount the skirting. You can use glue alone, but it's not great for pulling the skirting tight up to the wall, and trying to nail it to the skim is definitely hit and miss. I then filled the screw holes with multi-purpose filler, which Mr. TCD took over that job while I caulked all the gaps. Then came back the next day to sand the filler once dry and started painting. Now, with only a day left until the carpet fitters were here, that's all I'd agreed to do. But because I had some spare time, I really wanted to replace the bit under the dresser. Why not, since I've got the skirting? But this time, because it was an awkward space under there, I decided not to chop a bit out of the plinth and only cut notches out of the skirting instead using a jigsaw. It did take a fair bit of time offering it up, sanding it down with my Dremel and repeat, and I wanted to get that as perfect as I could to keep the caulking down to a minimum. I'm not the best at caulking. It's a sticky job I hate. So this is the strongest grab adhesive I could find that I bought for my coving. But if this doesn't work, I'm going to have to put nails in it. That looks like a lot of blooming glue. So I've got a packet there waiting for me, and I'm going to have to push it over here with a filling knife over there. I also added a bit of glue on the join. Right. Yeah. I just don't like caulking. After one more coat of paint, and even though I still needed to sand the filler under the dresser, the carpet fitters arrived to stick down the grippers. Obviously, I could have done this myself. I have done in the past, but it was part of their fitting process, which cost us an extra £50 due to having concrete floors. And when they turned up with 1,000,001 pieces, I questioned it because I suspected they were offcuts from previous jobs. And they told me it was actually stronger this way. Now, this is definitely not how I'd do it, and I'm pretty sure they'll be fine, but do you think I've been lied to? Anyway, since I now didn't fully trust them, I decided to cut my own oak threshold, drilled and screwed the channel to the floor so I could eliminate the possibility of me being unhappy with the finish. And because the grippers are just plywood, a small one on the corner split, which I had to repair with glue and veneer pins. But I will say that when they came back to install the underlaying carpet, they did a fantastic job. I just hope the carpet grippers hold up over time. So as you can see, we are camping in here at the moment. It's like we've moved into a new house, isn't it? It's got a new house smell as well. But Hans is absolutely loving a bed towards the floor at the minute, aren't you? And it's probably safe to say this is officially his favourite room in the house. But we've got loads more to do. Sorry, not loads more to do, a few tinkering bits. We've got a mirror that should not be on there. We've just done this as a makeshift blind, so we need to put some blinds up. We need a TV bracket fitted there. Oh yeah, and put the bed up and probably get some new bedding to match. Anyway, let me know if you found this video useful. And if you've got any other tips and tricks, let me know in the comments. But yeah, this carpet is feeling lush. Anyway, catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye. Bye, everyone.